As I suspected, after getting poor signal at the edge connectors for the drive stage boards, I did have to rebuild the preamp. And the preamp boards on these units also include the tone controls, and rebuilding them does not entail replacing every component, but it's kind of close. Every electrolytic capacitor is changed, and every transistor is changed. These units have problems with both. The capacitors, they can get leaky or they can just stop sending signal altogether, and the transistors get leaky and very noisy. And what's unfortunate about them is they'll often test good on a tester because the tester only tests them at DC. It doesn't actually test them with AC, which is what your audio signals are. So in this case, it's just easier and faster to simply replace all the components that you think might be bad, and indeed about half of them probably are bad. It's $10 to $15 worth of parts on a unit like this, and it's just, from a time perspective, way easier just to shotgun repair it than it is to find the few components that are bad. In addition to that, you get better reliability because you've got all these new parts. So, this is what's been taken out. A handful of electrolytic caps, a handful of and a handful of transistors. These low leakage caps were replaced either with a low leakage electrolytic or a film, depending on their size. The 1 microfarads were replaced with film, the 3.3s were replaced with Nishikon KL series low leakage electrolytics. The larger electrolytics were replaced with Panasonic Type FC, and the transistors, the 2SC 1313s were replaced with KSC 1845, which is a modern low noise NPN small signal transistor, and the 2SA 726 was replaced by KSA 992, which is the PNP complement to the KSC 1845. And the reason I used a substitute transistor on this was a simple matter of I don't want to have to go track down an obsolete Japanese transistor. I can get them if I absolutely have to, but in this case I don't. And these transistors that I put in are actually better than the originals. So not only do I get better performance, but I can guarantee myself that I'm not getting counterfeit parts by having an authorized distributor for Fairchild Semiconductor nearby. So, new transistors, new caps, and now I have a good clean signal on all 4 channels coming out of the preamp. Next thing to do is to recap the drive stage board, fix that silly little mechanical problem there, clean these pots, and clean that switch, and then clean up the front panel and do a little bit of cosmetic treatment. That little regulation board I was talking about earlier, this one right here, had some cold solder joints on it that were causing the tuner to become intermittent. I also repaired that. The preamp board had a few cold solder joints on it too. I repaired those before I did the entire shotgun technique. It didn't improve things much, and I noticed some of the transistors had massive amounts of DC coming out of them. They were just leaky and nasty. So I got rid of them. I didn't even bother testing them when I heard the characteristic plop of DC on some of the base terminals. I knew. I didn't even need to get out the tester. I knew they were gone. So with that rebuilt and the drive cards rebuilt, we should get some really clean audio and a happy customer. Anyway, it's almost 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to stop this procedure and I'll work on it tomorrow.